Let's go live to Tel Aviv and have a chat with Uri Geller. The evacuation corridor for civilians to move south remains open until 4 o'clock this afternoon as a tactical pause in fighting today has been introduced. Israel has been facing mounting international pressure to do more to protect Palestinian civilians in Gaza as fighting intensifies near hospitals and the number killed rises to 11,000. Those, of course, are figures supplied to us by Hamas, the governing body there. Meanwhile, the Gaza Health Ministry says that operations at the largest hospital in the enclave, Al-Shifa complex, have stopped completely after it ran out of fuel. The World Health Organization has already described Gaza's healthcare system as being on its knees. I'm joined now by Mystifier Uri Geller, live in Tel Aviv. Uri, thank you so much for joining me. It's good to see you. So talk to me, give me an update on what's been going on where you are.
Okay, I would very much like you to give me an opportunity to voice my opinion about these demonstrations. Look, Nana, what we are seeing today with the pro-Palestinian, pro-Hamas march in London is shameful. And I believe the vast majority of ordinary British people are embarrassed by it and do not want it. You know, Suella Braverman, the British Home Secretary, deserves praise, not criticism for standing up against it. Now, look, these jihadis, they're jihadists, because make no mistake about it, that's what they are, jihadists, plus a few useful idiots who just like marching, are hijacking the most solemn day in the British calendar, a day when all of Britain falls silent to remember the sacrifice of all those millions of brave men and women who gave their life to defeat exactly, and this is the important thing here, exactly the kind of tyranny these marchers represent. Look, Nana, the Metropolitan Police and Suella should have stopped the march from going ahead. It is provocative, it is frightening, it is anti-Semitic, and never before on Remembrance Day has any group held a protest march not for the Iraq War, not for the war in Afghanistan, not for any other countless wars where civilians have died. But here, in this clear war in Israel of self-defense, and this is self-defense by the one and only Jewish state in which suffered, the most horrifying massacre since the Holocaust. This is unbelievable what's going on in London. Nana, what is your opinion about it? Please tell me.
Well, Uri, look, first of all, they would probably argue that they are peaceful protesters, so they're protesting for peace, and they're concerned with the level of death that is happening in Gaza with regard to a lot of the people who live there who are not Hamas, and Hamas, obviously the governing body there, Hamas, I agree with you, are terrorists. But they would argue that these people are protesting for peace, Uri, and that's where we go with this, and that's why these protests which have gone ahead under that guise, and I agree with you, there will be an element of people who are supporting Hamas, but a lot of people there are likely to be saying that they are looking for peace, although I am with you in many respects, so I'd question that, because I'd say, OK, if that's the case, why don't you carry an Israeli flag and a Palestinian flag and put them together? Or why is there nobody there actually calling for the hostages to be released? That sort of thing is what I'm concerned.
Exactly. And if the protesters really were pro-peace, as they claim, they would be protesting against Hamas, not Israel. And that is a fact.
But they would argue that they are apolitical, not necessarily on one side or other, although many are carrying Palestinian flags. They would probably argue that their aim and their goal is to preserve life and they want peace.
Okay, going back to Israel, Nana, there are less missiles flying in. You can actually feel that their missiles are being depleted. We are, meanwhile, finding out that Hamas headquarters, missiles, launchers are all based in schools, in hospitals. It's unbelievable. And, we are filming all this. It's incredible how they use poor civilians, children, as human shield. Now, the world has to know this. Now, it's very difficult for us to bring this out in the open, because there are about what, 1.5 billion Muslims, and there are about 14 million Jews. So the internet, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, it's just a massive, massive drive against Israel. But we're trying to do our best to try to explain the real situation that is happening in Gaza.
I think a lot of people don't really have a real understanding of the brutality of what happened on the 7th. We hear it. I don't know whether people are actually, imagining that they happen to be, because the bottom line is, if any of those pro-Palestine protesters were near the border with Gaza that day on the 7th, the Hamas terrorists wouldn't have cared who they supported. They would have killed them. So I think, people need to be a bit more real about the situation and understand that they are indiscriminate.
One more thing. Nana, do you remember Michelle Obama holding up the plaque, "Free the girls that were kidnapped in Nigeria"? And all those celebrities that were all holding up freedom. We have over 230 hostages, babies, children. Babies were kidnapped from their mothers' hands. Where are the protests around the world, celebrities? From Michelle Obama. I challenge Michelle Obama. Hold up a plaque saying, "Free the babies, free the children." It's not there. She's not showing up. This angers me. And you understand my passion for this terrible deed and my questioning the world. Where are you? Why aren't you protesting against the kidnapping of children? Kidnapping of children around the world. This is a massive crime against humanity.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was a massive crime. It was barbaric. It was disgusting. It was the most unimaginable behaviour, and it's terrifying. If as a mother, as somebody, I don't want people coming into my house with machine guns and grenades and stuff like that. So it's terrifying to anyone who would have seen that. But of course, it's terrifying with bombs being dropped in Gaza as well. But the bottom line is, the only thing that divides Israel and Gaza is the fact that Israel has the Iron Dome. Had Israel not had the Iron Dome, Israel would look like Gaza. Well, listen, we've just lost Uri, but Uri, I think you've got your message across. So it's lovely to talk to you as ever. Stay safe. That was Mr. Fire Uri Geller, live in Tel Aviv, giving us an update on what's going on the Israel side of things as well.